Hi everybody, it's me Oddjob, and I'm here with an updated DCL Worlds deployment how-to video. It is in beta now. The last video I made was about 5 months ago, and some things have changed, so I wanted to give you just a little update. First thing we're going to do is just refer you to this page. It's under Content Creators in the Decentraland docs. It's the Worlds Overview section here. I'm going to scroll up to the top and just kind of go over this intro. First thing you're going to need is a Decentraland name. That's what a DCL World is attached to. So if you go to builder.decentraland.org /claim-name, you can just click on builder and then names and then navigate here that way. So you just type in a name that you're looking for. So since we do FAFO here, let's try to claim FAFO. If we were going to try to claim something that's already claimed, it's going to tell us that it's not available. So it's the first thing you want to do. FAFO is available, at least today it is. You click claim, then you type it in again. You have to have 100 mana on the Ethereum blockchain. That's the level 1 blockchain. You click confirm. You'll need to sign, right? And then confirm. I am just shy of the gas fees that I need. So I'm going to click reject. I'll try back later. But that's what you do. You click confirm, and then you'd get a message saying that yes, you have you've purchased your name. One last little bit, didn't cover it here. Maybe I'll have a totally separate video just about purchasing a name, but you have to authorize the DCL controller version 2. It's basically you're authorizing Decentraland to register this domain to spend Ethereum mana on your behalf. You have to click that, you have to turn that on, and then you have to sign that approval and let them know how much you're willing to have Decentraland spend on your behalf through your MetaMask wallet. I already have some names, so I'm going to use the Scottoshi DCL name that I've already got. So these are the ones that I have with this wallet. See, there's my Oddjob name, Mediocre, Twink. But Scottoshi was a name that was purchased for me by Kanessa. Thank you, Kanessa, very much. And if you know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, then you get a gold star. Okay, so let's say we have our name, we've purchased it, and now we have deployment rights. If I look inside this wallet at my NFTs, is it going to list it here? I can't remember. I think it does. Yeah, there it is. See, there's Oddjob right there listed. There's Scottoshi. So if we were to look at this on OpenSea, or if we were to, look at this on, what it be, Etherscan or whatever, we'd see that it's registered to my wallet. And that's important. It has to be in the wallet you're going to be deploying from. Otherwise, you won't be able to authenticate later on in the video. All right, let's get to that part of the video. Couple of ways that you can do this. The way I'm going to do this is through command line interface, and I'm going to use a GLB. But you could also come to the builder, the scenes section of the builder. So if you go to builder, scenes, these are all the different scenes that I've created in the past. You can see here gallery test, giving tree test, a bunch of different giving trees. The giving tree is a model that I created in Blender, and I exported it as a GLB. So that packages up the mesh and the textures for it all in one file. And I'm going to show you how to deploy that GLB on a 1x1 parcel to my Scottoshi DCL world, right? So the first thing I did in preparation is I created a new directory. I just called it DCL World Demo. Okay, and there's nothing in there right now. That's okay, because I'm going to start Visual Studio Code right here. And I'm going to click on Open Folder. And I'm going to open the DCL Worlds Demo folder. Now, I know it's there because if I open this, this is the file explorer for Visual Studio Code. Now, this video isn't going to go through how to install Visual Studio Code. You can get it pretty much on any operating system. I know a number of my friends use it on Mac OS. I've used it on Windows, and I'm currently using it on Ubuntu Linux. So you can pretty much get it installed anywhere. It's going to be a little more challenging to install on Linux, but you need to get this program. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to install Decentraland SDK 6. I'm going to be working only in SDK 6 because SDK 7 is still in beta, and DCL Worlds is still in beta, so we're going to try to eliminate the uncertainties in our test here, in our setup, as much as we can. So SDK 6, you'd install that. Again, beyond the scope of this video. All right. All right, so I closed the terminal just in case you start Visual Studio Code and your terminal may not be running. So to get that open, you just press Terminal, New Terminal. Here is where I am going to type the command. You can do this through the SDK6 by just clicking the Decentraland SDK6 button here and then clicking Create Project. But I like to do it here through the terminal or the CLI because it will show you the progress. It just gives you more information. Instead of it happening in the background of what happened, I don't know. This gives you more information. So we're going to type DCL init for initialize. Okay, and I left this open over here because DCL World Demo, that's where we are over here. So you can see the file structure happen here. You can also see it happen here. I'm going to choose a scene. So I can use my, over here, I can use my up and down arrows, smart wearable, smart item, scene. We're going to choose scene. That's what we want to create. That's what we're going to deploy to our DCL world. So I'm going to choose scene, and I'm going to choose the most basic scene, which is cube spawner. Okay, so now it's downloading from the internet, from the repository on GitHub. It's started to initialize the dependencies. So it's put in our node modules. It's got a place for images. This is where our thumbnail is. This is our basic scene thumbnail. We'll come back to that later. Okay. Now I can run DCL start to see the scene, but you can also look up here. You've got a scene.json file. Inside here, you've got a game.ts file. If I double click that, it opens up here in Visual Studio Code. So we'll be working with these two. No, close that welcome. We're going to be working with these two files, the game.ts and the scene.json file. I'm going to click up here in this file explorer to hide that, because if I need to explore files, I'm going to do that here with my main file explorer. It also will give me more screen real estate, so I'll move that over here. Okay, let's go ahead and start up the scene. So by that, I'm going to do DCL start. Okay, and again, I get to see what's happening in the background. You can do the same thing through the commands here in Visual Studio Code. Over here, by clicking this, after you create a project, there'll be a button here to start scene and to preview it and then to deploy it. But again, I like seeing what's going on here. Now, just going to point this out, Control C to exit. If you ever need to like kill the process, that's one thing that I like about a command line interface is that you never have to like go Control Alt Delete and go to Task Manager to kill a process. You can just stop it right here. In the command line, you're calling up the program, starting it, and then you still have the command prompt here, so you can kill the process here or exit the process, and that's by just pressing Control, pressing and holding Control, and then tapping C. Okay. So yeah, we're going to do a couple little things just to get you associated with editing some of these scenes in a simple way, not in a real major way, because there's all kinds of syntax and commas and stuff like that that we'll cover some other video. But anyway, here's the scene. I am at position 0, 0. That is the standard default spawn point. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to turn this on. So you can see X0, Y 0.9, and Z 0. Okay, so I'm going to walk in this direction. And what do you notice about the numbers? Okay, so X is still at 0 pretty much, and Z is at 16, or 15.98. Okay, so 16 basically. Now, if I walk this way, so this is the Z axis that I just walked along, and this is the X axis that I'm going to walk along. So Z is pretty much going to stay the same, and X is going to go to 15.9 or whatever, 16, maybe. Yep, there it is. Okay, so X is pretty much 16, Z is 16, but Y is still at 0. Whatever 9, just under 1. If I jump, you can see that go up and down. So Y is the up axis. If I were to make a graph on my screen, X would be along the bottom, and Y would be up here, and Z would be into the screen. So that's why X and Z change when I walk around, and Y only changes when I jump. We're going to go in and we're going to edit the spawn point. We're going to make it here right in the middle. So let's look at our this is just our feedback, right? Frames per second. We can turn on bounding boxes, spawn points. Interesting. I've never turned that on before. Anyway, we're going to make this our new spawn point. So we're going to make X 8, we're going to make Z 8, and we're going to make Y 15. So we're going to actually drop out of the sky and land on our spawning cube. To do that, we're going to go back into Visual Studio Code. I'm going to close this again just to give us some more screen real estate. This is where we do that, under spawn points. I'm going to change the X value to 8. I'm going to change this to 15. Because remember, that's our up and down. We're going to drop out of the sky. And then I'm just using the arrow keys to go up and down. And I'm going to change this one to 8. Now I want the camera target, that's where the character is going to look. If we go back here, when we load into a scene, it's always in third person view. It's going to be over the shoulder like this. So I want us to look, we're going to land in the middle. So let's have us look back at the traditional spawn point, which is 0. I'm going to leave Y at 1. Traditional avatar is, I think it's like 1.5 meters tall. Each of these units are in meters. Okay. And our parcel is 16 meters by 16 meters. So if we want to be exactly in the middle, X is 8 and Z is 8. But I want us to land at 8, 8, and I want us to look back at 0, 0. So I'm going to change that. I'm just going to switch that around just to get yourself acclimated to editing some of the JSON and TS files. Okay, so if you look up here, it says 1 unsaved file. That's what that blue circle and the 1 means. I'm going to Control S to save. That goes away. So come back in here, and I'm going to hit F5 to reload, to refresh my scene. Now watch. I should drop out of the sky And it should be high enough that you're actually going to see the character drop. If you put it at like 2 units, yeah, there you go. If I were to put it at 2 units, the character would pretty much just show up here and you wouldn't see it drop. But at 15, it gives you enough time for everything else to load and the character to load. So that's our new spawn position, and it had us looking back at the spawn location. Okay, so that's our scene.json file, and here's our game.ts file. Now this is telling us everything that's inside of our scene, right? Or sorry, everything that's going to be deployed inside the game is our game.ts file. I'm going to get rid of all of this. I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to highlight everything and I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, why did I do that? Because I want a blank scene. The first thing I'm going to need to do, if I come back in here, you see, oh, the cube is gone. If I do a refresh here, we're going to drop out of the sky and land on the ground, the basic grid of a ground. So here we go. Boom. Very nice. And we're looking back at, we walk this way, we walk here, we're looking back at the spawn point, change this, and look, it's pretty much 0, 0, 0. Okay. Now, if that's all we wanted to do, and we just wanted to deploy to our DCL world, we could add the code for DCL Worlds, and we'd be done. But we're not. Let's add the important bit of code that we need to deploy our scene to our DCL world, and that's going to be back here in this document. If we scroll down, it's this bit of code. This bit right here, this bracket, you know, this squiggly bracket right here, it's already there, and it's this yellow, green color, whatever. It's like here and here. So all this other stuff is already in here. We're going to add our bit of code after this right here. And if you look above, you can see in between each squiggly bracket, like this is contained within its own, like squiggly bracket, right? So after each squiggly bracket, there's a comma, except for the one at the very end. So we're going to put this at the end. We're going to put a comma here, and then I'm going to hit enter, enter. I'm just going to do a couple returns, right? And then here on 38, I'm going to come over here to my browser window. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put my cursor right here, and then I'm going to paste that in there. Okay. If you didn't do it right, if you forgot a comma, you're going to get little squigglies underneath it, right? Or if you put the comma in the wrong place, you're going to get these little error marks. So I'm going to undo that and undo that so that it works properly. Now, if you recall, where was it? It's here. Yeah. If you look here, my name, I guess well, the name is scottoshi.dcl.eth, right? So that's what I'm going to put here. Can't remember exactly what tab it was under, but I do know that this is what I called it, okay? So scottoshi.dcl.eth. I need to put that in here into my scene.json file, okay? Some other limitations that are important to remember: total size of the scene must be less than or equal to 100 megabytes, okay? And that's here. Yeah, if we come back here and we look at the entire directory, so if we right click on it and choose properties, you can see that it's totaling 386 megabytes. Now, that's a little deceptive because what you're not going to be including is this node modules. So if I click on the properties of this, you can see that's that's the bulk of what I've got here. So if you got rid of the node modules and you just added everything else up, that needs to be under 100 megabytes. So from here to here, not this one. If we click on properties, you can see 3.5 megabytes. So this should deploy no problem. If you do that, you select all of those and don't select node modules, because that actually doesn't get uploaded to Decentraland. It's just local files that you need here to help you upload the files. If you select all the files that I selected, except for node modules, and you total it and it's 100 megabytes, then it'll deploy no problem. It has no parcel limitations since January 2023. That's something new that they created. So if you wanted to make something that was like 100 parcels by 100 parcels and it was under 100 megabytes, go crazy. Okay, so we've got that. We've got the circle, the blue circle with the number 1 underneath it. So we need to remember Control S to save. Okay, now we need to go back to our game.ts file. This is where we're going to define the scene, and then we're going to create an entity and parent that to the scene, so that if I pick up the scene and I move it around, the objects that are in the scene are parented to it. They're children of the scene that's the parent. So if I move the parent, then the children go with it. It's like I've got this rubber cement container, that's the parent, and the children are inside. So anything that, you know, I put inside there gets moved whenever I move the jar. You know, I could take this little guy and put that in there, and Lego character would go wherever the jar goes. You get the idea. Okay, so let's do that. Let's define the scene, and then let's define an entity and parent that entity to the scene. Since I have a hard time remembering all of the different syntax and commands and whatnot, I'll usually open an existing scene and then just borrow bits of code from that and paste it into the scene that I need. So this is something that I created earlier today for FAFO session. And that's right here. You can see FAFO 31, that's this directory right here, src game.ts. Okay, so here I've deleted everything else out of that, and this right here is constructing the scene. So if I copy that and I come to the current game.ts file, I'm gonna just describe in common text. So this is readable by people only. The first 2 slashes are telling the computer to just ignore this, that these are just basic human readable instructions. So I want to define the scene first, okay, and then I'm going to paste in that bit of code that I just copied. So construct something called a scene. It's a new entity with the name scene, okay. Then you're adding the entity, you're defining all of the transforms. So there's the position, the rotation, and the scale, okay. Next, I'm going to define the objects in the scene and parent them to the scene. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to grab this whole thing. Choose copy. Okay. And then I'm going to paste this in here, and I'll have all of this for you as an example. Now, most of this is the same as up on the top, adding the entity. This next one, line 18 here, entity set parent. This is what I was telling you, it's important earlier. If we need to rotate our scene, will happen because I've set the scene as the parent. So anytime I rotate the scene, using this will follow, okay? And this is the GLB or the GLTF shape, all right? The shape that I'm using is the giving tree. Now this is a file that I created in Blender. I chose to export it as a GLB. I've placed it in a models directory in FAFO31. So I'm just going to copy this whole directory, right? If I wanted to just like do it from scratch, I could do that here. See, when you first create it, it doesn't create a models directory. There is an images directory, but I'm just going to create a new folder, call it models, right? And then I put my GLB in there. I've already copied it though, so I'm just going to paste it here. But if I click inside here, you can see here's the GLB. It's my giving tree for FAFO. Here's the canopy, the leaves of the tree. That's that texture, and here's the texture for the trunk of the tree. All right, and there's the model. So I'm constructing the GLTF shape, and I'm telling the computer where it is. It's located here in the models directory, and it's called giving tree FAFO. Now I'm going to call up our, maybe I am, yeah. So right now there is no tree because all of the changes that I've made to the scene haven't been saved. But I am going to save it right now. Actually, let me move this over. So when I save it, you guys can see it update in real time. So I've got a file here that's not saved. I hit Control S. Did I save the right scene? Hopefully I did. Okay. It doesn't seem to be updating. Let me hit F5 for refresh. And hopefully it will save then. Usually when you make changes in your code here, it will update in your browser here. It'll do what's called a hot swap. So yep, there you go. Now you can't see my character because she fell into the middle of the tree. But there we have it. There's the tree. So I've got a file, a scene. I've got a spawn point. Right here, I've got where the camera's looking. I may want to change my spawn point now. So let's say we don't want it to land right in the middle of the tree. Let's say we want to land just a little bit before the tree. So if I hit Control Save here, to get us to spawn, I do have to refresh the scene. So I'll come here, press F5, and you should see the character drop into the scene just in front of the tree. Nope. I don't know what I did wrong. Here, let's change this to 4,4. Save it and come here and refresh. Oh, I should probably change the camera target to be the tree so that the character is always looking at the tree. Yeah, absolutely. Don't want to be looking this way. We want to be looking this way at the tree. So let's change that. We know that it's in the middle, 8x and 8z. And if we want it to be looking up at the tree, we could choose like, I don't know, 5 meters. I think that's how tall the tree is. So save that. Come back over here. You see the tree like went away and then came back. That's because it was refreshing the objects in the scene. So I'm going to press F5 to refresh again. So once we've got the scene set up, that's all I'm doing is I'm just monkeying around. There's also something called the HUD or the heads up display. We'll cover that in another video. But yeah, there we go. There's a character, there's the tree, here's our scene. It's all ready to go. We can run around. We can't jump up in the tree. I don't have any colliders. We'll cover that again in some other video. But this is ready to be deployed. Let's go back to our documents and let's see what we need to do to deploy. So publish via the CLI. Again, you can come in here and that's just the file explorer. If you click up here to SDK6. Open folder, folders ready. Okay, cancel, whatever. There's a way to yeah, here we go. Stop, start. You can deploy to your world with the buttons here, but again, I'm going to do it through the terminal. So I'm going to come down here. Let's look at the problems here. This is it's a constant problem. You don't have to worry about this. I'm not going to worry about this. This never causes my scene not to deploy. It says key of strings only is deprecated and will stop functioning, so on and so forth. Don't worry about that. If it's a different error message and it causes your scene not to run, then reach out to me and we'll see if we can solve that. Anyway, I'm going to close this. Increase our screen real estate. I'm going to close this one because we've got the code that we needed from that. So we've got our game.ts file. TS just stands for TypeScript. We've defined the scene. We've defined an entity. We've parented it to the scene, and we've loaded up the GLB. So there's our giving tree model we've loaded. We've got where our scene is located, on what parcel and how big. We don't have to worry about that because we can put it at 0, 0. Got our spawn point, our camera target. We're ready to go. I'm going to come back to terminal. I'm going to click on this plus sign because the terminal that we're in right now is running, it's running this right here. So I want to open up a new terminal. So I'm going to click plus here in the terminal, and that just gives us a new command line prompt right here, right? So let's go back to our documentation. This is the command we have to run for SDK6, which is what we're using. I'm going to highlight this, Control-C to copy, and then I'm going to paste it in here. Now, it's going to deploy to this Ethereum address, scottoshi.dcl.eth, and it's going to use the common command DCL deploy. What is the target though? It's not going to go to Genesis City. It's going to go to the Worlds server, the World Content Server, right? Decentraland.org, okay? Completely different server than any of the other Catalyst servers. All right, so once we have that command copied, I'm going to press enter. Again, this is giving you the information as it's loading. It says, don't forget to update your scene, .json, metadata. That's the thumbnail picture for the scene. That's like who the author is, how to contact me, my email address, that sort of thing. We'll do that later. So this is the linker app, and this is on your local host. So it hasn't yet sent the commands, all of the commands to the content server, the world server, because it needs to authenticate that I own scottoshi.dcl.eth. I do that here by connecting my wallet. See, I've got my MetaMask wallet installed up here. If I click on this and I scroll to the bottom, you can see that Scottoshi is in that wallet, okay? But the server doesn't know that. This is how we tell the server that that is in fact the case. So I click Connect Wallet. MetaMask is what I'm going to use to connect. Connect with MetaMask. Click Next. Yep. See, it's just saying it wants to see the address, account balance, activity. I'm okay with that, with all of those things. Now it's connected. The next thing I need to do is click Sign and Deploy. Then I click Sign. Now it says it's deploying. Again, this is my wallet right here. It's going to deploy to the coordinates 0, 0, mainnet. If I come back over here, I can see, yep, I saw it here before it even uploaded here. Your scene was deployed to a world's content server. Access your world here, right? Play.decentraland.org, realms, so on and so forth. Okay. There's a shorter way, there's an easier way to join the world, and that's described down here. So once the scene is uploaded to the world server, you can access it by using the Decentraland Explorer with the following friendly URL. This is if you're doing it through a browser. I want to really specify that. So I'm just going to copy this part right here because name is what I need to type in. But if I come here, open up a new tab, and I paste in that URL, and I type here Scottoshi.dcl.eth. Now this is my Giving Tree wallet. This will take my Giving Tree character, so I have to sign my wallet saying yes, I want to connect to Decentraland with this wallet. So it'll take my avatar character for the Giving Tree and it will drop it into this scene, which should be the actual tree Giving Tree on this server. What I could do, if you're using the client, if you want to view your scene that you just uploaded to DCL Worlds, if you want it to go through client, I'll show that to you here in just a moment. It's just a matter of opening up the chat box and doing a change realm command. It's super simple. Okay, almost done. All right, so you saw we dropped in. Here's my this is my character after I randomized the character. So whatever, it's just it took one of the many different clothing items and randomized it. It's a fun little game to play. But yeah, here we are on the Scottoshi DCL Worlds. Here's the Giving Tree character that dropped into our spawn point looking at the tree just like we asked. And we're done. So hopefully this was a helpful video. Streamlined, updated for the beta version of DCL Worlds. If you have any questions, as always, you can contact me. I'm Oddjob, pretty much on all social media, Twitter DMs, Telegram, Discord. I'm also on the Farcaster network. So yeah, just reach out to me, Oddjob, and hopefully we can get you set up. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing your world. If you do set up a world, please reach out to me. Let me know that you set it up. I'd love to come visit it and hear about how it was, your experience in setting it up. Thank you very much.